so it's on.
Okay, thanks.
Fun.
One of the major ideas that we try to emphasize in my night seder on Moadim is that Jewish holidays are not commemorations of events that took place in the past. Unlike secular holidays, the main point of a Jewish holiday is as an indicator of spiritual energies that are available for us to tap into during the year. There are auras, spiritual lights, that come down into the world throughout the year that have a different nature based on the time of the year. And a mistake many people make in Judaism is that a holiday is really just a commemoration of something that took place in the past. But in reality, those events only took place because those spiritual energies that were coming into the world enabled them to take place. And the only reason that we have a holiday and commemorate those events is that by studying those events and what the Jewish people went through during that time period, we can understand those energies that are in the world. And if we look at the mitzvos of the holiday and all of the events that surround what we're celebrating, we can actually learn how to tap into that spiritual energy. So I thought that we could spend some time going over Purim and understanding what is it that enabled the story of Purim to occur in the world. What are those energies that we can tap into on Purim, and how is it that we can actually do our own avoda to build the kelim, the vessels, that will enable us to experience that light. If we look at the story of Purim, I think one of the ikar avodas on Purim and the main points that we emphasize is Mechias Amalek. You see that in the Megillah, you see that in the mitzvos of Purim, you see that in the fact that we had Parshas Zachor immediately preceding Purim. And this idea that we need to wipe out Amalek. And most people understand that today Amalek is not a physical nation, and that the mitzvah is a little bit more difficult to understand. But what Amalek is in this day and age is an ideology. And if we understand what that ideology is and how to eradicate it from ourselves, that is really what's going to enable us to tap into Purim. The ideology of Amalek is something that we can actually see within the Psukim. It says that when Amalek encountered the Jewish people, he used the lashon asher karcha b'derech. And Rashi mentions there that karcha is b'lashon keri or mikra, which means happenstance. That Amalek is this ideology in the world that everything that occurs is just a cause and effect, just probability, just rationally explained. Whatever happens is only natural, is only science. It's just things that occur in the world, and that really Hashem is not involved in an intimate way with this physical reality. That He is someone that exists up high, and we are in control down here, and that Hashem has no place in our lives. Essentially what they're denying is Hashgacha Pratis. And this is the ideology of Amalek. And what we fail to realize is that this ideology has really infiltrated each and every one of us, especially myself. For the first 18 years of my life, this was the religion that I subscribed to, unfortunately. In the scientific terms, they call it material reductionism. That the entire world can be reduced to atoms and molecules, and everything is just an output of an input and and the effect of a cause. And when you subscribe to this, it really takes God out of our lives, and it removes Him from this intimate relationship that He has with us, that He really controls every single aspect of our lives. And the axiom that we use in Judaism to describe our ideology and our outlook on the world is Hakol bidei shamayim chutz mi'yer shamayim, which would really be the catchphrase of Purim, that everything is in the hands of Hashem except for Yer Shamayim. A lot of us are led to believe that we control our wealth, our health, our own destinies in the world. And what we fail to realize is that that is in the realm of Hakol bidei shamayim, that everything is in the hands of Hashem. It's already decreed on high whether we're going to be wealthy or poor, whether we're going to be smart or simple, and whether we're going to be healthy or sick. These are circumstances that are necessary for us to fulfill our mission in the world and perfect our specific neshamas. And we don't control these areas of our life. These are circumstances that Hashem needs to place us in order for us to reach our correction and our purpose in this world. Where we do exercise our free will is in the area of Yirah Shamayim, is how we react to these circumstances that we're placed in. In the areas of ethics, morals, Yirah Shamayim, which encapsulates religious activities, and how we really respond to these circumstances. If a person is going to be rich, is he going to be somebody that is a taker, and that believes that he controlled his own wealth, that I control my wealth, I'm the one that created this for me, he builds his ego? Or does he realize that this is what Hashem gave him? And in an act of Yirah Shamayim, he realizes that he is just a pipe or a flow-through to give this money to tzedakahs, to give this to Torah institutions, and really that he is just something that is a tool in the hands of Hashem, and that he responds to these these circumstances in his life with Yireh Shamayim. When a person is poor, does he get bitter? Does he get sad? Does he get depressed? Or does he realize that this is a circumstance that Hashem placed him in, and the way in which he responds to this is ultimately going to determine his reward in the next world and how he experiences life in this world. And this is ultimately the message of Purim. If we look at what we actually read on Purim, it's Megillas Esther. And those words are very interesting. Megillah comes from the word megaleh, which means to reveal. And Esther comes from the word hester, which means to hide. Purim is really revealing the hidden. That in this world we think that the natural world is something that hides God. Something where God is clothed and we don't see Him, and we are kind of the ones that are controlling those areas and those aspects of our lives. The idea of Purim is really to come to a realization and to unmask this world and to realize that these are only the body of Hashem, the way in which Hashem interacts with us through the subtleties of our lives and the circumstances that we're placed in. These are messages that Hashem is telling us of how He wants us to respond. And that's exactly what the Jewish people realized on Purim. In the beginning, they went to the Seudah of Achashverosh because they thought that that was what was necessary, that really Achashverosh was the one that was in control in this world, that their lives were in his hands, and that they needed to show up to the Seudah as opposed to offending him. And they didn't realize that Mordechai the Yehudi, who would refuse to bow to Haman every chance that he got, was really the essence and the ikar of what our purpose is in this world. Not to subjugate ourselves and to submit ourselves to secular society, but to rise above and to really express our Yireh Shamayim. And in that way we rise above this world. And that's what the Jews realized at the end of the story of Purim, that they fasted for 3 days, and as opposed to maybe appealing to the king and thinking that their lives were in the hands of Achashverosh, they realized that their lives were in the hands of Hashem. And therefore they fasted and they prayed and they davened to Hashem and came to that realization that Hashem is really what controls every single aspect of this world, and that our free choice is exercised in that realm of Yireh Shamayim. And that is really the essence of the major mitzvah that we experience on Purim, which is to drink wine. Nichnas yain yatsa so, that when we drink wine, the secrets come out. That when we drink wine, we reach a state of adelo yada. Adelo yada means you nullify yourself, you nullify your ego to the extent that you realize that really you don't even know the difference between Haman and Mordechai. And when you nullify that sense of self, when you drink that wine, when you have the nichnas yain yatsa so, the secret of the world comes out, which is that you really do not control anything in this world. That this world is really a mask for Hashem. And that's why we wear masks on Purim. Because you don't wear a mask when you're distant from someone, if you want to hide yourself. The distance takes care of that. You wear a mask when you're close to someone, you don't want them to see you and to realize that you're there. That's what Hashem does with this world. Hashem uses this world as a mask, and He communicates us through this world. And we have to come to this realization that it's really Hashem that's controlling all of these different aspects of our lives. And we need to turn to Hashem with tefillah, with Torah, with mitzvahs, with Yireh Shamayim. And that is the way that we can truly build meaningful lives. So it's my bracha to all of you that you fulfill the mitzvah of Purim, Mehudar, Mahadran min Mahadran, and get to that level of Adelo Yada in a holy spiritual way, where when you drink that wine, you ultimately nullify that ego, nullify that sense of control, that negative sense, that Amalekite sense of control, that you're the one that controls your destiny, and to realize and give your life over to Hashem, to realize that Hashem is in control of everything. And if you reach that state on Purim, I truly feel that this is a message that you will carry with you throughout the entire year, and something that can really have an unbelievable effect on your entire life. Have a freilichen Purim.